All right, so this is a video just to get a video out of the way, because I apologize for the distinct lack of anything going on this week, but this week has been terrible. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was so damn cold outside that you couldn't stand to be outside for more than like 5-10 minutes at a time, and it was hurting to breathe. And you stay out here that long and your fingers were about froze off, and it was not very good for getting anything done. And then Wednesday, I went down and got this, which is the topic of this video. And yesterday I wanted to get this thing unloaded, but I ended up spending almost an hour at Napa after work, and by the time I got everything home, or by the time I got home and got around to doing stuff, I was out of daylight. And today, kind of the same thing, had to go back to Napa to get some stuff for Shelly's car, and it just has not been a very productive week as far as getting things done. I did get parts ordered for the 1600. I got parts ordered for the 1950T. I got parts ordered for the 1955. I went through and got all my filters, counted up, and got my filter order in today, so those will be on their way. So anyhow, this is a white 378 8-row narrow folding cultivator, same as my 4-row that's sitting down there, that actually is behind the ripper. You can't see it, and you probably can't see that far anyway for the snow, but as you can see, we're having a blizzard right now. You wouldn't know it, but today actually started off beautiful. It was calm, sunny, fairly warm, and then about 2 o'clock this afternoon, this crap rolled in. It's 6 o'clock now, and between 2 and 6 it's dumped almost 6 inches of snow, and it's supposed to keep doing it until about midnight. But anyway, 8-row narrow white 378 cultivator. You're probably gonna think, what do I need an 8-row narrow cultivator for? And you would be correct, I don't need an 8-row narrow cultivator. I do, however, need an 8-row narrow toolbar to put the applicator together that I'm building. Because that applicator I bought was a 6-row wide, 6-row 36 inch, so yeah, 6-row wide. And tell you what, now that you've seen this, it's 8-row narrow folding toolbar. You'll see more of it Sunday, because Sunday I'm going to get it unloaded and get it tore down. It came from Wyatt Farm Center in Wyatt, Indiana, which I picked it up just down the road from Wyatt. They're still a dealer, but they got bought out by Burnips, and now they're a New Holland dealer. Burnips is a chain here. They got dealers in Michigan and Indiana. I don't know how much further than that they go, but anyway, so this is it. You'll see more of it. I'm gonna go down to the shop where it's warm, and we will finish talking about what's going on with it. Okay, that's better. The temperature's been dropping like a dang rock for about the last hour. But anyhow, so applicator project and how an 8-row cultivator ties into all that. So, like I said, the applicator I bought was a 6-row wide, meaning A, there wasn't enough shanks, which didn't matter because they were anhydrous knives, and you don't put 28 on anhydrous knives. But B, it means that the current toolbar that is on it is too short to cover, or to get 9 coulters on to cover 8 rows. So regardless, I was going to have to either lengthen the toolbar or build a different one and build in hinges and do the geometry for cylinder mounts and all that stuff. And earlier last week I was thinking, you know, it would be a heck of a lot easier, and I don't even know what made me start thinking of this, but it would be a heck of a lot easier if I could find an 8-row folding cultivator or like a 24-foot folding rotary hoe, which finding an 8-row cultivator, 8-row narrow cultivators aren't exactly falling off of trees to begin with, and 24-foot folding, or 25-foot, whatever the standard rotary hoe width would be, aren't really falling off of trees either. You had to jump from it seems like around here you go from a 15 to a 20, and 20s are normally still rigid toolbars, and it seems like you jump from a 20 to a 30. So that wouldn't have done me any good. But anyway, and I got to thinking, you know, and I guess some backstory. That cultivator was actually offered to me probably 8-9 years ago. And the whole reason that actually came from a guy named Simon, lives down there south of Wyatt. About I think he's actually a tad younger than me, maybe. But anyhow, he was actually probably one of the first 200, maybe even in the first 100 people to subscribe to the channel way back in 2012 when I put my first video up. I've been on here for a while. But anyway, so his granddad farmed all Oliver and White. They had a dealer like 5 minutes down the road. They're just south of the dealer. And he had that cultivator, and they were back when it was first offered to me. They were cleaning out the shed because they needed shed space to get some new equipment in. And at that point, I was like, what am I going to do with an 8-row cultivator? I don't need an 8-row cultivator, so I passed on it. And so we fast forward to here, and last week I was like, you know, I wonder what the odds are Simon still has that. So I texted him. It's like, hey, you still got that? He says, yeah. As a matter of fact, we're cleaning the woods out, and it's kind of in the way. I said, you still want to sell it? He said, yeah, it's no good to us. So I offered him $350. It's probably a little bit more than what it would go for scrap. And there it sits. The only thing that sucks is, since the last time it was offered to me, they robbed the fold cylinders off of it to put out. They got a bale clamp for clamping big square bales. They stole the cylinders off of it for that bale clamp, and they stole the 3-point mounts off of it to put on their, they got a spray boom. I can't remember if it's a 60 or a 90-foot spray boom for the back of their tractor, 3-point spray boom they built, and they stole the 3-point mounts off of it, which isn't necessarily a big deal because I may or may not actually need them. The only thing that sucks right now is it makes it a pain to move because you can't just hook onto it with a tractor and move it. So, but that ain't going to matter much anyway, because my plan is Sundays, the weather's supposed to be decent. My plan is Sunday to strip it down and get it to the toolbar. So like I say, Wednesday I went down and grabbed it. It took him that long to get it out of the woods because they had to wait for the ground to freeze up, and the ground still ain't froze. He said it was an adventure trying to get it up from the woods to the farm lot. But they got it up there, and we got it loaded up. It was a little bit of an adventure getting it home because the roads weren't terrible. I mean, they weren't great, but they weren't terrible. And I didn't have any trouble getting down there. It's about an hour drive from here. And probably not even an hour. In normal conditions, it's not even an hour. In the way the weather is now, it was about an hour. But it took me almost 2 hours to get back because I got about halfway back and traffic came to a dead stop. And I sat in gridlock for almost 20 minutes before we even started moving. I'm still not exactly sure how he did it because the road was bare. Hold on. Teeter's wanting in. The road was bare where the accident happened, but somehow, I don't know if the guy fell asleep or what, but there was a semi and a van trailer had took a nosedive off the road and was laying on its side in a ditch, like probably 10 feet below road level. And they had a rotator out there and everything, but anyway, it took me that, and then once we got past that wreck, all the idiots that had been sitting in the gridlock that had to get somewhere at that point started driving like idiots, and I was scared to death the rest of the way home, not because of road conditions, but because of all the idiots in traffic bobbing and weaving out of cars because they got somewhere they gotta be. But anyway, I digress. So, the plan, I don't need cultivator units, don't want them. I might keep, I'm thinking I'm going to keep one just so I got spare parts for my 4-row that I don't hardly ever use, but you never know when you might need a spring tine or whatever. So I might keep one. If there's anybody on here that has any interest or need in cultivator row units, there should be, what, 2 on either end and 7 in the middle, so there should be 7 full units and 2 half units for the edges, and I'm keeping one. So if anybody wants any of the other cultivator units, make me an offer. You got to come get them. Otherwise, and speak now or forever hold your peace, because I'm putting a load of scrap together this week and they'll be gone, because I don't want the stuff sitting around collecting dust. So, like I say, if anybody wants cultivator units, let me know. I'll put my email down. I don't know who or why anybody would want bare cultivator units, but you never know. I'll throw it out there. But the whole reason I wanted it was, you got your toolbar, the hinges are already put in, or the geometry's done, the hinges are there, the cylinder mounts are there, everything's there. It's got gauge wheels on it. I'm probably going to go ahead and run the gauge wheels on the applicator just to help the wings float. You get better placement that way, because you're not relying on the coulters to keep their depth on the wings. And it's plenty heavy built. So, I mean, everything is there, and for $350, I could not have bought the steel to make that to do what I need it to do. So, and by the time I get rid of the row units, I'll probably have a free cultivator. So, that's the plan. It kind of sucks, because, I mean, it's a fairly straight cultivator, but I don't need it. I'd rather have the toolbar, because the toolbar makes life easier, so that's what's going to happen. So that's kind of where we're at. And I got to thinking about it, because, you know, Simon's basically been subscribed since the beginning, and the whole reason we found each other was at that point he had a YouTube channel, and I know he's still got the account, because when he comments every once in a while, it still comes up under his old account. And I'm assuming that means he still got videos up, but he had a really nice 1750 that his granddad bought new, that was all restored, that they used to do hay and stuff with. And they had a 2105 and some other odds and ends around. But then, like I say, the videos he might still have the videos up if you wanted to go look for them. It comes up under Monahoot Holsteins. But it got me wondering how, after, what'll that be? 12 years this year. It'll be 12 years this November that I've been on here, minus the few that I wasn't here in the middle. Just makes me think about how far things have come since I started doing this, and how far the farm has come, and how far the channel's come, and all the things that have changed in life. And I started this back when I was in high school, and then now I'm graduating college. I've got a house, I've got a farm, I've got all the equipment. It just, how time flies in 12 years. And it also got me to thinking, I wonder who my oldest active subscriber still is. Like, that's been here literally since the first video, if there's any. Because, I mean, back when I first started this, I'm pretty sure back when I first started this, One Lonely Farmer would have been the biggest farming channel on YouTube. I don't think there was anybody bigger than him at that point. And now there's farming channels with north of 1 million subscribers, and he's still at like 150, 160,000. There really wasn't that many other farming channels besides him. And, you know, channels my size back that I got first started, when I first started, if you got a new subscriber a week, and if you got 150, 200 views on a video, you thought you were walking in tall cotton. And that was also back before the YouTube, that was also back before, I guess, kind of the internet in general became a cesspool for all of the negativity and whatnot. And that, it was, Things were a lot different back then on here, I'll tell you what. But anyway, I think that explains what I need to explain about that. Like I say, I wanted to get a video up tonight because there hasn't been anything video worthy. I mean, I got stuff done. There just hasn't been anything video worthy done. I'm still working on LVLs for the barn loft. Basically, what I'm running into with every place I've checked into is nobody wants to do the engineering on them because they haven't designed the whole structure so that they don't have all the numbers. And I'm like, this is what I need. Just build them. I guarantee you that barn is 10 times stronger than anything you're engineering today just because there's nothing they're building today that's going to be standing 140 years from when it was built. It's like, just make me these LVLs to these dimensions. This is what I need. But if it comes down to it, I might end up buying 2x12s and making my own. But anyhow, so I got that going on. Like I say, there's a box of parts there. It doesn't look like much, but there's 3 tractor projects worth of parts in this box. Well, this is the starter box. The 1600 should only be a clutch rebuild once I get it torqued, because the PTO clutch needs rebuild on the 1600. That's where that project got started. So there's the parts and the gaskets and seals and all that stuff to rebuild the PTO while we're at it. It's all in here, plus whatever the clutch rebuild's going to turn into. But I'm just going to take that down to South Bend Clutch and have them do it. The 1950T just breaks, and I'm going to rebuild the hydraulic quadrant and put a new friction disc in the 3-point before that goes out on me, and put a new seal in it. And oh, damn it, I should have got rock shaft seals, because I got a rock shaft seal leaking, I think, if I remember. Yeah, I got a rock shaft seal leaking on that, so I'll have to order rock shaft seals for it, because might as well do that while I got it in here. And got the hydraulic unit drained. Have to pull the fenders off of it for that, unfortunately. But got to do that, and then do the brakes on it. And the 1955 is just fixing a small oil leak, but that part's in there. So those 3 things in the barn loft are kind of the big and the applicator, which, like I said, hopefully we're going to start working on this week, getting a plan together as to how that's going to be built. Figure out if I want to put the toolbar in front of the cart or behind the cart. I had initially thought about making the cultivator or the toolbar 3-point mounted, and then putting a hitch on it and pulling the cart behind it, kind of like an anhydrous setup, but rather than a 4-wheel cart, you'd have a 2-wheel cart. But I was like, that's not going to be very maneuverable, and I absolutely do not want a 3-point toolbar with saddle tanks. Saddle tanks are one thing for spraying. I do not want liquid fertilizer anywhere near any of our tractors. I want it as far back as I can get it. So I do not want saddle tanks for liquid fertilizer. No way, no how. If I had some old piece of shit that we didn't care about, that's what its entire life was going to consist of from here on out, was just be an applicating tractor, I guess it'd be one thing, but I do not want liquid fertilizer anywhere near the tractors. So that's completely out. But so got to get all the parts stripped down, just get everything sitting out here in the driveway, and look at it and say, okay, this is what we got to do. And Dad and I are going to go up and look at my boss's DMI to see what the feasibility is of just kind of copying that design. So anyhow, but I ain't doing anything tomorrow. There's nothing. I got to work on my truck. I got to put a radiator in it and change the oil. It's had a small little radiator weep for about the last 2 months, but I haven't messed with it because we've been into harvest. So I got to do that tomorrow, and then, like I say, hopefully Sunday we'll get that cultivator stripped down. So if anybody's interested in any of them cultivator units, let me know. Otherwise, they're going to scrap. That's the big takeaway here. So I guess with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully videos start coming a little bit more regularly now that we've got things sort of situated, and hopefully Mother Nature, like, by Monday it's supposed to be raining again, and by, like, Tuesday it's supposed to be back up to 40, so we're going to have one heck of a mess. But anyway, until next time.